Roy Lichtenstein worked as a professional artist for quite a while, and then to have a side job, he actually was a graphic designer. He worked for newspapers, he worked for magazines, so that was kind of his side job. He wanted to become famous. So his way of becoming famous was he was trying to figure out, how can I break the boundaries of what art is? So he thought to himself, what is the most ridiculous way that I can approach that? What is art? And so he thought, there are these little comics in the newspapers. What if I were to paint that, hand paint that? Now, these pieces, as what you're looking at now, this piece is called The Kiss. These are not small. These are quite large. Size-wise, if you were to look above the Prometheum board right now, there is the blue sound panels. This piece right now is actually, if you were going from the top of the blue sound panels down to the bottom of the floor. That's how large it is, quite large. And what he did was he wanted to use comics and say, hey, is this art or is this not art? And he became famous for that. He was saying that, yes, this is an art form, but no one is actually looking at it. The way he went about it is the same way as artists would use in the newspapers, how they would create these comics. They would only have a limited number of ink. The more ink you had, or more ink that you had to put on the newspaper, the more expensive it would be. Well, they wanted to save money, so they would limit it to only 3 colors: yellow, red, and blue. Just like a normal printer today, it's yellow, cyan, magenta, and black. This also has black. Now, to create different shades, if you look at the skin, it is actually little red dots. It kind of looks pink because of the white kind of bleaching it out. But those dots are very important. He is the first artist to use these dots. These dots are called Ben-Day dots. Ben-Day dots. You actually want to write that down. This artist used Ben-Day dots in his paintings. There is going to be an opportunity or test where a question comes up, who used Ben-Day dots in their painting? It should say on the bottom of your screen how to spell that correctly. But this is his way of going about painting these pieces. Yes, all those little dots are hand painted in there. So this is called The Kiss. He usually dealt with romantic scenes or war scenes. As you'll see here, you can read that. He liked to introduce concepts into where they weren't sure what exactly was going on. So you're not really sure what exactly is taking place here. This is one of my favorite. It says, I don't care. I'd rather think than call Brad for help. What does that mean? Who knows? I don't know. If you notice something about his compositions or his overall design, it keeps your eye moving. He was a master at keeping your eye moving throughout the whole piece. He used lines and shapes like no other, specifically line weight, to help your eye just keep moving around. Also, here's another huge piece. I need to get a better resolution of this piece, but it is quite large. It would be, if you were to look at the wall, from the wall with the door all the way over to the whiteboard. That's how wide it is. It's also quite tall. It's actually 2 panels. You can see it split in half. That's how big it was. Again, a war scene. He would do simple ones. He loved using line weight. You can tell the line weight in the base of this vase, where the lines go from thin to thick to create a piece that has volume or depth. He would also transition to sculptures, where he would take that comic-like structure and put it into a 3D object, such as here. If anyone has gone to Washington, D.C., this is in the Washington, D.C. Mall, right off of the mall. There's a sculpture park there. This is actually, when you approach it, it looks like just a ton of metal going all different directions. And he was messing with perspective. So it actually doesn't look like a house except for one spot. And the spot that you're seeing it from, it looks like a house. But if you take a couple steps to the right, a couple steps to the left, that, such as those red shutters, they might be going way back into space and be a really long piece of metal. So he was playing with perspective. Again, this is Roy Lichtenstein. His style dealt with popular culture in the 1960s, 1970s is when he really made it big. So, what you're going to write down for his style is pop art. pop art. Stands for popular culture. Go ahead and write that down. Or as I like to say, pop art, art. So pop art is the style. This is the kiss. You can have many different versions of this. This actually is shown throughout history. We're going to see the kiss many, many times through different artists, but this is this artist's version of the kiss. The way we like to remember it. I'm going to give you guys different ways to remember all of these art pieces. Now, it might be some weird way of saying something. It might be an action. What I ask of you guys is to just try it. Yes, it's going to seem weird. Yes, it's going to be dumb. Trust me, this isn't going to be the weirdest one. But it will help you remember. I'm going to teach you guys how to remember things, not just in art, but in other classes as well. So the way we like to remember this, I like to look at this painting, even though it looks like he's bending down to kiss his cheek, I like to think of it as he is licking her cheek. So we call it Roy Lichtenstein. What I would like everyone to do, if you could do this on the count of 3, you're going to go Roy Lichtenstein, Roy Lichtenstein. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Roy Lichtenstein.